Hello, I'm Mark Crosby of Quincy Access Television. Thank you for joining us for In the Know, a program that helps you to stay informed. This episode, as in episodes past, we have the Norfolk County Sheriff, Patrick McDermott, joining us here today. Patrick, great to have you back. This officially is spring now. You do monthly programs, we should mention here, at QATV, but these programs run throughout the county.
Fantastic to be back as always. The months seem to fly by. I don't know which episode this is, but it's been countless over the last year. It's been fantastic, and I like the fact that QATV. It's convenient for us to film here. The studio is fantastic. The host is second to none. But it's great that we were able to get this out to the rest of the people in Norfolk County. And,
absolutely.
It'd be tough for me to go around to every cable outlet around. So it's great to have this on Access TV throughout Norfolk County. So I'm very, very grateful for that.
And how are things at the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office? So
things are going great. We've had a very busy year. I think we're finally at the endemic stage of COVID. We've had very good success within the facility in terms of the health for both our officers as well as our staff, and for our justice-involved individuals. So we're at the point now that I think we're really ready to focus on the business of running the facility as best as we see fit. So we're opening up a lot more with our resources for vendors to come back in. Programming is back up. And the one thing that we look forward to in spring, we look forward to graduations, people graduating from high school, graduating from college, some people are getting advanced degrees, and it gets to be that time of the year when people are looking for jobs. Young folks looking for jobs, people changing careers, and at the Sheriff's Office we have over 300 employees that work for the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office, and 280 or so uniformed employees, our security staff, which makes up the bulk of our staff. But we also have about 35, 40 non-uniform staff that make up our educators, our mental health clinicians, nurses, doctors, and external staff. So we're always looking to beef up our program. So I was hoping to get a conversation today on some of the promotional things we've done, some of the new hires that have come in the door, where we need people, and how to get a job working for us at the Norfolk Sheriff's Office.
Very good. I will mention to folks that at the end of the program we do have two special guests, so we'll leave it at that.
Very nice.
We'll keep the mystery. And we'll start with a new hire, a new superintendent.
Yeah, it's a new promotion, and I'm very pleased that I recently appointed Danielle Frayne to the position of superintendent of the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office. She replaces Michael Harris, who served as superintendent for just about 3 years, a little over 3 years. He was hired by the former Sheriff McDermott, Jerry McDermott, and brought in from Suffolk County. And we're happy to thank Mike for his service. And but Danielle is just an absolute superstar. Danielle is somebody. She is actually the first woman that's appointed to hold that position in the 229-year history of the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office. She has a real focused, unyielding determination to achieve what I expect is excellence in the organization and create opportunities for the agency to do great things, but also opportunities within the facility for our staff as well as our justice-involved individuals to thrive. So she's the kind of effective leader that will work diligently to continue innovating and ensuring that the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office remains a leader in the state and in the country. And I say that only because she was my point person a year ago when we went through our accreditation process, and we went through several audits. The biggest of which was the American Jail Association, the ACA, the American Corrections Association. They came in and did an extensive audit last year, and it was Danielle Frayne as the assistant superintendent that had to oversee and make sure that our facility was up to speed on all of that stuff. So she knows jail operations inside and out. She's worked for the Sheriff's Office for over 25 years. Being a correction officer, she started just like everybody else as a young officer working a housing block. before she moved on to working for our electronic bracelet program, working with individuals. Once they leave, they go on our bracelet program that we can monitor their movement after they get out of our facility. In 2007, she was appointed as the director of classification, and was also named an assistant deputy superintendent in 2019, excuse me. And when I took office in 2001, I put her in the assistant superintendent position. We had shuffled the deck a little bit, and I'd given her the promotion of assistant superintendent. And it was kind of a training ground, so to speak, that she was well prepared for and ready for to shine. And I give credit to Danielle to stepping up. And she really served as almost an acting superintendent while she was there. Mike Harris, who was the superintendent, really groomed Danielle and our security team to really make my transition a lot easier, but put Danielle in a position where she could really succeed. So she actually, in addition to that, I mean, she comes with great credentials so that the people in Norfolk County know what they're getting on this. She's pursued and received numerous certifications, which includes being a Prison Rape Elimination Act certified auditor, which is a huge issue throughout the county, country. That's a position that is required by federal law. She's a certified jail manager, a certified correctional executive, and a certified correctional health professional. She has completed what's known as the FBI Trilogy program, which is something that I'm actually getting myself. I have one more session to go on the FBI Trilogy program. She led the way with that, and she's making sure that our senior staff are going through that program so that eventually our ultimate goal, and I hopefully coming back in the fall, our ultimate goal is to have our entire command staff all certified by the FBI Leader program. And with that, we will get it called an Agency Trilogy certificate, which is a very rare accomplishment for any law enforcement agency in the country. And that's largely because of Superintendent Frayne and the work that she's doing on our behalf.
And we should mention the year you became sheriff was back in
2000. I was elected in 2000. I was sworn in on January 6, 2001. Excuse me, 2021.
Right.
I'm thinking about my register of probate days. Time flies when we're having fun. 2021.
There we go. Okay. And just talk about maybe how often or what the interaction is like for the superintendent and the sheriff.
So we have daily briefings. She has a daily briefing every morning with the command staff, with our shift commanders, our assistant deputy superintendents in charge of jail operations, and then she comes and meets with me every morning at 11 o'clock. The chief of staff, the superintendent, and the sheriff, we get together, we go through the daily incident reports that happened within the facility from the previous 24 hours. We go over some staffing analysis, issues that are coming up, and you'd think that, wow, geez, you meet every day, doesn't that get boring? Every day something different. There's new things going on, there's new issues within the facility. Certainly any emergency situations, I hear about immediately, but I trust in Superintendent Frayne's leadership skills. She handles 99.9% of the problems before they have to come to me. She also serves as contact for our external law enforcement relationships. So anytime there's interaction with chiefs of police, fire chiefs, any kind of MetroLEC, which is our partnership with the regional police response unit, she's in charge of all of that as well. So she's got quite a busy agenda every single day, and she does it with a flair that makes it look easy.
Well, congratulations to Danielle on this promotion.
Thank you.
We have a couple of photographs that will show you reading to children at school.
Absolutely. So I've had the chance now over the last couple of weeks, with once again, post-pandemic and kids, the schools are opening up, mask requirements are lessened. And so we really wanted to get back out to our kids and talk to some of the schools. And so I had the privilege, I have a favorite story that I used to love to read to my son and daughter. And it is by Peggy Rathman, called Officer Buckle and Gloria. And it's a great story about how Officer Buckle likes to go out and give safety tips to the kids, and I got a chance to interact with some kindergarten students from around the county. I was awesome to come back here to Quincy actually and read to the students at the Montclair Elementary School, the kindergarten students, and you know, it's a story about safety tips, but it also shows the interaction and the partnership between Officer Buckle and Gloria, who's his partner, his canine officer, and how the students interact with the safety tip presentation, and in the end, the main lesson to learn is always stay close to your buddy, and it's just a nice little lesson. We give this book to each class that we go out to read at, and it's just been a lot of fun for me to do that. I look forward to going out to see our kindergartners. We try to do 2 or 3 of those a week, and it's a lot of fun. Those kids are great.
And I'm sure your kids, who really aren't kids anymore,
college students,
right? Remember you reading that book to them.
Yeah, and you know what? When it comes to reading with kids too, and I think any parent that's out there, a grandparent, will attest to. You read the same book over and over again, and I'm sure you can relate, Mark. You read the same book, they go back to that same story because it means something to them, but it teaches them how to read. And I tell the kids, when I give my little message to the kindergartners, there's nothing more important that they'll ever do in their life than to learn how to read. Reading leads to everything, even math. You know, reading affects math. You have to read math problems in order to solve them. So reading really is everything. And that was a commercial back when we were kids. Reading is everything. All right,
really?
I remember that.
Okay.
But yeah, this is just my way of instructing kids that reading is so important, and it's going to be a life lesson for them. They should continue to read. Turn off the TV. Put the video games down. Read a book.
I was waiting for you to go
Yes.
there. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's talk about diversity.
Yes. So when I was first elected, you know, during the campaign when I was running for sheriff, you know, there was a little bit of unrest that was going on within, you know, communities of color, minority groups, and you know, it opened the door for us to have a real hard conversation about diversity, equity, and inclusion, in the community, but directly within the workplace. And so, as the conversations continued on, I actually I committed to making sure that one of the first things that I would do is take a real hard look at how we can diversify our workforce to properly reflect the people that we serve in Norfolk County. And we do have a very diverse population throughout the county, and both the population we serve externally as well as the population we serve internally. So we wanted to make sure that our staff kind of reflected some of the people that are in the facility and certainly out in the community. So one of the first things I did was hire a diversity officer, a woman that came into our facility, and she knows a lot about how to diversify a workforce to actually discuss issues of equality and inclusion issues, sensitivity topics, biases that we might have. And so I wanted to make sure that diversity was of paramount importance when we start hiring our new officers. So, you know, this it was like a justice issue for me, but it was also a public safety issue. We wanted to make sure that we had a diverse staff that was essential to the goal of rehabilitation, working to meet those justice-involved individuals where they are. And of course, it's much easier to work with communities to provide services when you can find common ground with the people who live and work there. So diversity at the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office is about both identities and experiences as well. So by assembling a team with a wide range of backgrounds, we are not only have a team that has a valuable mix of identities, but also an invaluable range of experiences, personal and professional, and diversity of interests that help us solve new problems, as well as solve those old problems that have in new ways. So our 2 classes that we've hired in the last year are the most diverse classes, both ethnically as well as from an interest and background that the office has ever seen. You know, we have military service veterans that come and work for us. We have kids coming right out of college that come to work. We've got people that have a direct interest in law enforcement. Others, I hired a gentleman who had seen his career to the peak of the TSA. working at Logan Airport, making sure passengers are safe in flight. And he came on board. So there's a whole group. We're actively looking for more women to hire as well. I'm proud that we've put on several women corrections officers in the last year, and they're a great addition to our community and our workforce. Even though we don't right now have a women's prison, these women are fantastic officers who come in and with a different perspective, and they do wonderful, wonderful work with our justice-involved individuals.
I believe you mentioned that Danielle Frayne was the first woman superintendent.
Correct, and she was probably one of the first females. There still aren't a lot, and I forget off the top of my head how many females we have. But you know, it's interesting. Danielle, 25 years ago, was probably one of the few. Her dad was an assistant superintendent at the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office, and so she comes from a good pedigree. And but I want to see more women in the law enforcement community. I think they bring a wonderful perspective. And in fact, the women that did come through our classes the last 2 years, I know one topped the curriculum, the exams, came in first in her class, and another female officer came in number 1 on the physical fitness. So watch out, guys. The girls are coming.
Absolutely. Before we get to our next topic, I do just want to let folks know again we have a special guest. I just want our director to know that I haven't mic'd one of those guests. So
there we go.
So there's a little hint
one mic'd,
to my
one non-mic'd.
Right. So that might need to be done before we finish. However, careers at the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah. So as we said, as I said in the introduction, as a lot of times when people have a vision of what is the makeup of a sheriff's office and what careers might be available, they immediately go to the uniform, the badge, the corrections officers and our deputy sheriff. So certainly these are the critical positions that we have at the House of Correction. They make up the bulk of our workforce, but we absolutely couldn't function without the top-rated correctional professionals we serve. So that they're of paramount importance. But there is a wide variety of careers at the Sheriff's Office that reflect a broad portfolio of services to both justice-involved individuals as well as to the residents at large of Norfolk County. So making sure that people come with that diverse background, not only to the uniformed personnel, but come with a diverse background when it comes to our non-uniformed personnel, is what we have at the facility. So, for instance, we have an entire medical wing. Certainly, our justice-involved individuals, they do get sick. They do have mental health issues. There's some addiction issues. So we want to make sure that we're fully staffed medically. So we employ a full array of medical professionals in the facility who ensure that the population of justice-involved individuals we house are cared for physically, behaviorally, and mentally. So we have both RNs, LPNs, mental health clinicians. We have a dentist on staff. We have a doctor that we contract with. We also have a optometrist we contract with, a psychiatrist that we work with. And that ensures that the medical and mental health issues of our justice-involved individuals are met to the highest level. We want to make sure that we have a healthy facility, and so our medical careers that we have are available to those people that are interested to come work for us. So we want to make sure that's the case, and we're probably going to be expanding our medical in at least in the years to come. Part of our strategic plan is to rise up our medical staff, not just to have a medical unit, but to actually get infirmary status, which will get us a higher level of medical clearance, and we're going to need more people to help staff that. So we're always looking for people in the medical profession who are interested potentially on shifting into a career within corrections to come look us up. So
as we look at further, I should say, on the list, maintenance.
So we're fortunate that we recruit staff, particularly correction officers, once again, from a diverse background, and we always shop around for electricians, plumbers, carpenters, mechanics, IT professionals, whatever the case may be. So we have on staff those corrections officers that do that. Most of our repairs that we do and even our major projects are done in-house by corrections staff. And some people say, well, is that a good thing? Is it worth it to do? And I question that as well. I said, well, why don't we just hire workers to come in, a regular contractor? So it's important that when we're working within the facility, at any given moment, things can happen. There's codes that go off, there's fights, there's problems. We don't want civilians in the facility that are not trained, because our officers are required then to not only protect the civilians, but also take care of a situation at hand. So our corrections officers that are trained, that work in the facility, fixing a toilet or a light fixture or installing new flooring in a unit, doing some painting, these guys are all trained as corrections officers. So we know that in a moment's notice, they can also shift over to work a housing unit, deal with a prisoner transfer, whatever the case may be. So it's really important that we have those individuals on our staff. We are looking for those. We have a full fleet of cars. We don't sub that out to a local mechanic in the community. We do all those things in-house, so we have mechanics on site doing that as well.
I do want to make sure we leave time for our guests. So let's look at educational careers, community outreach, and internships.
Exactly. So education is of paramount importance. We want to make sure that our justice-involved individuals have the education and the skills required to move into success outside of the facility. So we have teachers that come in and work with our individuals. A lot of them don't have a high school education, so we make sure that they get their GED. We have college curriculum courses, financial literacy courses, computer courses. Those all need teachers. So we're actively looking for teachers to come into our facility. We also work outside the facility too. Our community outreach program is very busy, working directly in the communities, whether it's working with veterans groups, local schools. We have school resource officers. We have workers that go out work, like I said, with our veteran service officers, our councils on aging, and we have a lot of community affairs that we go through. So we need interested people that are community oriented, that want to come and help us reach those 28 towns in Norfolk County.
And finally, internships.
Internships. I am a product of an internship program when I was back in college and in law school. Valuable experiences that we can provide for high school, college, and postgraduate work in our facility. So that crosses all kinds of the things, whether it's finances, whether it's case working, whether it's working with kids, working with seniors, working in the correction setting, criminal justice majors, psychology majors. If you're interested in finance, we have a $40 million budget we have to manage. So there's always work for every little particular case that people would have. But internships, we're hiring now. If anybody's interested in a summer internship, check us out on the website, get us your resume, and we'll take a look.
Very good. Well, I believe now we are ready for our guests. And as they come into the studio, we should probably let the folks know what we will be talking about.
Exactly. So we recently added a new member to our ranks, a comfort dog. He'll be providing various services throughout Norfolk County to our residents. He comes to us, comfort dogs in general are a new way at best, certainly in law enforcement, as a response, as a resource for people who are in stress. Sometimes it's from first responders recovering from a hard call to students grappling with unforeseen changes. Comfort animals help provide a calm and center people in various situations. We'll see a comfort dog go out on a call through law enforcement where there might be a traumatic moment. But all in all, these comfort dogs are trained to provide unbelievable comfort to those people who might be in a stressful situation. So we recently held a contest throughout Norfolk County with Norfolk County kindergartners. And we came up with a name for our new colleague. We had over 1,500 submissions from 35 schools. And in the end, we had so many great submissions that we couldn't just choose one. So our final choice came down to a combination of Edward and Buddy. And so we decided to combine them, and now I'm excited to introduce Norfolk County to our newest canine comfort dog, Canine Eddie. So we have Canine Eddie in the house today. He is with Officer Michael Monahan. Michael is in
Thank you very
studio
much.
with us as well. Mike, why don't you give us a rundown of your background and why
We should mention that Officer Monahan had to take a back seat there.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
You
Yeah.
didn't get the introduction that
No, and that's okay.
Eddie got.
Yeah.
And
Eddie-
that's right. He deserves the
It was all about
introduction.
Eddie, 7 months old, right?
7 months old. Between 7 and 9 months, he's a rescue dog from Florida.
Excellent.
So well, I got this opportunity. I want to thank the sheriff. This is a great opportunity. So we got him from a kill shelter in Florida,
Yep.
and we brought him down to a training center in Middleborough. And I went through 3 weeks of training. So I just completed my 22nd year up at the jail. I worked inside of the prison for 15 years, or the jail for 15 years. I was lucky enough to get on the canine unit after that, and I ran a narcotics dog as a narcotic handler. So it's a very rewarding job, and it was a lot of fun. And from that point on, the sheriff came in, and he's one of his many jobs that he's posted since he's been in the jail. He posted this comfort dog, and I said, I think it's time for a new opportunity. I'm getting towards the end of my career, and it's nice to be able to walk into a room and put a smile on people's faces.
Yeah, and Mike has done a great job. You know, as I said, Canine Randy was his partner for
9 years.
9 years, doing
years.
narcotics searches and doing sweeps of wherever we were called out to, and
Yep.
a valuable resource. Our canine operations are fantastic. We've added a couple of new canines to the ranks. We have Canine Jack and Canine Lucy,
Yep.
I believe, to the ranks, and now Canine Eddie has come in. And our dogs do an unbelievable thing in the community, both from a law enforcement perspective, certainly, but Eddie's going to be specifically trained. He's specifically trained to go in, and we expect him at some point. I don't know if you've been in a housing unit yet.
Yep,
but-
so today I did. So today I went up and I saw all the staff that I've worked with for over 22 years. I saw the shift commanders and the supervisors. I went to a couple staff meetings,
Yep.
introduced myself, oh, they didn't have to be introduced, but introduced Eddie, and let them know we're there for them. So I talked to the director of nursing and the superintendents, and if an inmate gets a bad phone call, or if there's something going on in the medical unit, or if one of the officers know that these officers are very good at what they do up there, and you're trained to communicate, and you're trained to sense problems. And whenever an inmate hangs up from a phone, or if something's wrong, it won't hurt to take a walk down with Eddie and
Yep.
talk to him. And as far as staff, we have a lot of things that go on in a jail. Like I said, I've worked inside that prison for 22 years. Things happen in a moment notice. And I can remember leaving there many nights, my head spinning, and asking the question, do I really want to keep doing this job? But I did, and it's a lot of good people, and to be able to walk in with him now after a critical incident and have the staff, say hello to him and play with him and introduce him, it's very gratifying and very rewarding. And the best part is when you walk into a room, people smile at you now.
Yep.
Instead of being unhappy that you're in their house searching for narcotics.
And I've had a couple of experiences with Officer Monahan and Eddie out in the community. We visited a couple of senior facilities already.
Yep.
I know that you were at Milton Hospital.
I was at Milton Hospital last Thursday. Yeah.
Last Thursday, and so Eddie has already been staffed up. Eddie has an Instagram account, from what I understand, too.
Yes.
So it's Eddie
Yeah.
the Comfort Dog,
Eddie
I
the
believe.
Comfort
so
Dog, yep.
I'm assuming that Eddie the Comfort Dog on Instagram is probably going to have more followers than all of us combined.
Oh, I'm sure.
Pretty soon.
I'm sure.
I don't even have one.
Yeah, well, Mark,
embarrassed
get
to
up to
say that.
speed. Come on, man.
I want to thank you both for joining me today. Certainly welcome Eddie and Officer Monahan to QATV.
Yep. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Definitely, and we'll have you back.
All right.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
And Sheriff, always a pleasure.
Thank you. Looking
Thank you.
forward to next month.
Thank
So
you very
am I.
much.
And thank you at home for watching. Please continue to support your local access television station for programming just like this.